Virtuosity is Bentley's e-commerce platform that provides an easy, affordable way to purchase practitioner licenses of Bentley software, paired with expert services, training, and mentoring.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. So this session will be focusing mainly on how you can design larger railway projects using OpenRail Designer. We'll be showing you the advantages of using OpenRail Designer over our competition. I'm Casey, your host today for the session. I'm product consultant for Bentley Civil Software. Together with me is Melen, our product expert for our civil software. She has a wealth of experience with our road, rail, and site design products that include her conducting numerous trainings and delivering professional services to our users. She was also a practicing professional before she joined Bentley. So before we start, I would like to introduce our new licensing model. In our continuous support to the design community, we are now offering affordable and flexible annual subscription called Virtuoso. This is bundled with keys, which are essentially one-to-one online training credit. Virtuosity.com is Bentley's e-commerce platform for you to buy the Virtuoso subscriptions. All of our latest products are available there. For every license purchase, a product expert is assigned to your team within a day or so. The product expert works closely with you to understand the team's skill level and project needs to customize the training. These experts come with rich experience working on similar projects. You will have the complete flexibility to choose whether to renew or add a license over the next 12 months or so, or even add more keys as your need arises. Virtuosity works like any other e-commerce platform. You can simply add any number of our software of your choice to the cart, make the payment. Within 24 hours, your license is delivered, and then you are assigned a product expert who will work with you with the software installation as well as customizing the training. Within a week, you and your team can be equipped with the fundamental skills and your design work can be up and running. This way, you can just focus on delivering the high quality professional outputs to your clients. So right now I would like to hand over the session to Melen, and I would like to remind everyone that as the session goes, if you have any question you would like us to clarify at the end, please put it up in the chat section in this webinar panel. So without much delay, I would like to hand the session to Melen for her technical presentation.
Okay, thank you, Casey.
Pleasure.
Great. Let me share my screen.
Yep.
So can you all see my screen? Okay, great. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melen. I'll be your presenter today. So we'll be focusing more on our solution on rail which is OpenRail Designer. So basically, the focus would be more into how you can leverage on OpenRail Designer in delivering large railway projects. So today, this is our agenda. So we will start by discussing some design and modeling basics of OpenRail, and of course, why why the software is able to deliver large types of rail projects. Okay, so what is the underlying power that is inside the software that makes this possible? And then a little later on in the presentation, we'll also show you some of our successful users who have actually benefited from using our solutions. And apart from OpenRail, we also have some solutions that would allow you to address some of your, say, based on the poll a while ago that Casey has given. Okay, so the challenges that you face. I think the number one challenge that was or that you as users are facing are really more into the hardware as well as collaboration between different disciplines. So and apart from that, the lack of automation, and then if there are some changes, what would be, or what or how would you approach these kinds of scenario? So before I start, I would like to launch a poll question. So just to give me a brief uh, idea as to who are in the webinar today. So what projects are you currently involved in? Is it transportation road rail, or are you in the land development projects, or probably building or facilities on or other projects? Okay, so I see answers coming in. Okay, so I'll close the poll now. Now, let me just share the result. Okay, you're in the right webinar, okay, since most are really doing transportation projects. Although we did not streamline the question as to road or rail, okay, but basically we're all in the right webinar, okay? Now, another one last poll question, okay, before I finally start, okay? So in a typical rail project, what do you feel, or maybe based on your experience, is the most challenging to design or to model? So rails that are on a tunnel or in a tunnel, or on a viaduct or a bridge, or maybe those that are of course, there has to be a depot or a yard, right? Or probably those typical at grade or on the ground type of rail corridor. Okay, so answers are coming in again. Great. Okay, so let me close the poll. Okay, now we have, I do hope that when I share it's also showing the results, right? Casey, can
Yep.
you
Yep.
let
We
me
can
know?
all
Yeah,
see.
okay. Okay, so it's a tie between rail on a tunnel and rail on a viaduct or bridge, okay? And depot and of course the at grade. I think basically for those in Southeast Asia and even any parts of the world, right? The most rail projects are really underground. Okay, and if there is a viaduct or a bridge, that is when it comes in, okay, to a tunnel. Okay, and it's good because later on I'll be showing some samples of those rail in a tunnel, and then some user cases that entails all of these scenario. Okay, so let me hide it. Again, thank you for your answers. Now, moving on, I think if you have attended any of the Virtuosity presentation, especially my presentation, we also always start with this. So just giving us an overview that in any infrastructure project, there are many disciplines or many different projects that comes in and needs to collaborate, okay, with each other. So if it's a rail project, it could be that it's a network of tunnel, then bridge, and then at grade, then going to a depot at grade, or maybe there are also some projects nowadays that the depot is underground as well. Okay, so with that, the focus again would be more on OpenRail Designer. So how the solution would basically allow you to deliver large infrastructure type of project. Now, OpenRail Designer is basically one of the major civil design solutions of Bentley Systems that caters to rail design, okay? Rail design and modeling. And just to give an overview, okay, so OpenRail basically is an all-in-one package that has the power of Open Roads Designer as well as Open Site Designer. So if you have attended our presentation on Open Roads, maybe 2 or 3 weeks back, uh, we've actually discussed about how you do interchange modeling inside Open Roads. And then next week, we have another session on Open Site Designer. So basically, if you only have OpenRail Designer, you can also do roads as well as site projects. Apart from that, the platform or the CAD platform is MicroStation. So meaning to say all the tools that you have for 2D as well as 3D drafting, design, and modeling are all in OpenRail Designer. Okay. Apart from this functionalities like using reality models, point cloud data, different types of survey data, okay? And of course, if you have to lay out or create a network of utilities above or underground, we also have the drainage and utilities workflow to support that. And of course, hydraulic or hydrology calculation is also built in because we have the full function of StormCAD, which is part of our open flows solution. Okay, and then if you have the need to add in your geotechnical data, showing it alongside your rail alignment, okay, or project, then we have the GINT Civil tools as well. So all in one package, including, of course, the visualization tool called LumenRT, which comes for free for every install, okay, or license of OpenRail Designer. Okay, focusing on the rail-specific functionalities. Okay, as I mentioned, all the functions of Open Roads as well as Open Site are inside OpenRail Designer. So these are all those functions. And apart from that, okay, we have some, of course, the main rail functionalities that allows you to create or apply rail standard or rail specific standards by creating rail alignments, then turnouts. Then also you can do some regression analysis, both horizontal and vertical. And when you have to add in, real life or real world type of adjustment in terms of how the rail corridor would apply a speed as well as super elevation or cant, we have those functionalities as well. Now, in the modeling aspect, you are able or you can add in rails and sleepers, do some sweep envelope type of modeling as well as analysis, and then of course lay out some overhead line and electrification models. But we also have another version of OpenRail Designer, but that basically caters the OLE aspect of Rail. So that's the OpenRail Overhead Line Designer. Okay, but it's another solution that has the full function of OpenRail Designer plus the OLE functions. Okay, so with that, let's move on with the design and modeling basics that OpenRail Designer has. And as I mentioned, if you have attended a previous session of Open Roads, which I conduct, or we conducted 2-3 weeks back, okay, I think you've seen this slide as well, because basically the workflow of Open Roads Designer as well as Open Site Designer are pretty much the same, okay? But of course, with Open Site, which you will see next week, if you have time, please feel free to to join again. The functionality or full functionality of corridor modeling is lacking in Site. So that's why if you have to do road as well as rail types of corridor, so you have to use OpenRail and OpenRoads respectively. Okay, so this workflow basically showcases how you typically do your design as well as modeling in OpenRail Designer. So basically you start with survey data. It can be any traditional or non-traditional type of survey data like point clouds, your fieldbook files, and so on. Okay, but currently we have this data as well called reality models, which I will show as well later on, and then you would be building a terrain out of it. So the terrain is basically more of like a platform of all your design, okay, so that you can have the right elevation, okay, reference when you're doing a proposed model or design. Okay, so geometry are there for both road and rail, and of course what makes your corridor three-dimensional with information model embedded inside is the template or cross section, which I will show again, and then the the way you model them in 3D and how you edit and present them with all the right components are done using the corridor modeling tools. And if you have to lay out some networks of drainage as well as utilities underground or even above ground, you can use the drainage and utilities tools and hydraulic calculation if you have to do a storm sewer type of analysis in your networks. Okay, and of course typical or common output would be your drawing production, plan, profile sheet, sheets, plan, profile, cross-section sheets, okay, and of course, your quantities and other report formats, okay. Now, as I've mentioned, we also would need to start with a terrain model, okay. Then our alignment would reference the terrain model so that you can lay out your horizontal as well as your vertical alignment. Then together with the template, okay, you will now be, these three components are the basic requirements in order for you to create a corridor model. Now, I would be expounding expounding on template later on, because maybe the template, if you're used to the other software, would be a file or something, right? But then in Bentley's language or in OpenRail, OpenRoads language, template refers to cross sections. Okay, so all these three, when you combine all of it, would create what we call a corridor model. Okay, so that's really the aim or the purpose of the software, to come up with a model of your corridor, be it a tunnel, a bored tunnel like this, or a cut and cover tunnel like this, or maybe an at-grade one, okay? And even those in a viaduct or a bridge, okay? So the presentation would basically revolve on or will go and follow this workflow. Okay, so starting off with surface, as I've mentioned, you are not limited to using traditional survey data. Okay, you can also leverage on the latest LiDAR technology formats like point clouds, as well as reality models. Now, today I would be stressing on the reality model because this is one of the latest, okay, technologies nowadays that are being leveraged by OpenRail Designer. So this reality mesh basically is a data that comes from different, okay, instruments. It could be drones, it could be some sensors, or even your normal cameras, right? Phone cameras, other sensors, mobile cameras, or cameras that are installed on a vehicle. Okay, so this data, okay, basically is following the principle of photogrammetry. Okay, and this allows you to come up with a data like this, which we call a reality model, okay, or a reality mesh. Now, this is not like a typical picture that I or that you just stitch together, okay, but basically this picture or this animation you're seeing is a reality mesh that gives you terrain information. Look at how the terrain is being triangulated or is triangulated, and you can also get point cloud data out of it. Now, you can rely on these types of data or this type of data in order for you to start your project in OpenRail. Okay, so you can convert the terrain, okay, or the reality mesh into a terrain, and then from there use that high definition or high resolution type of data in order for you to start your project. Now, how do uh, sometimes, okay, sometimes when we deal with this kind of data, it's quite large, basically, because it's really different uh, photos stitched together, okay, using a technology. And by the way, the software that was used to generate this, if you are if you would like to know, uh, based on Bentley solution, we call that context capture. Okay, and the format is a reality mesh or a 3MX or 3SM file. Okay, so you can leverage that kind of data because I think nowadays, since we have this challenge of really going to the site, okay, some of our users actually leverage on the reality mesh so that they can monitor the site or even extract terrain data from the reality mesh. So the process I'm showing you is basically how you are able to convert that reality mesh into a terrain model inside OpenRail Designer. Although I've stitched or I clipped some part of the reality mesh just to the purpose of showing you a small portion, okay, of this workflow I'm showing you. So the tool is actually called ground extraction that allows you to convert the reality mesh into a terrain model. Okay, so all you need to do is just make sure everything are geo-coordinated. When I say geo-coordinated, everything has or in the right position or are assigned with the correct coordinate system. Then you just need to input in the GUI all those necessary information that you would like to uh, to use in order for the processing to take place. So once extraction is done, the terrain model uh, can now be displayed. Okay, so in this case, both the reality mesh and the terrain model that was processed are being shown in here. So from this point forward, you can now use this terrain so that you can move on to the next stage of your design, which is basically probably geometry. Okay, so geometry creation or alignment creation is pretty much uh, straightforward in OpenRail Designer. Elements that are intelligent and they are ruled and associated according to the design intent that you have imposed in the alignment. So it's the tool is something similar to or it's like you're doing a CAD drafting, but then you're actually creating an intelligent civil alignment, okay, and stored in the DGN. And you could also import different types of alignment in XML or even those in ASCII formats, and other third-party alignment formats. Okay, and and of course, both horizontal and vertical alignment tools are available for you to to use. Okay, and with OpenRail, you'd be able to apply different types of spiral, that are that are basically different, okay, when you do it in a road type of alignment. Okay, so we have some dedicated settings for you, or standards that would allow you to make sure that your alignment is specific to rail. And as I mentioned, we have some regression tools. You'd be able to do horizontal and vertical regression analysis, and then we have, or you can use some curvature diagram, and then some dynamic regression tool to be able to really design, okay, your alignment properly, especially if your project are in a brownfield area that limits you to that limits your design to any existing scenario or existing ground scenario. Okay, and then of course turnouts, crossings, and yards, following most common regional standards for yards and crossings. Okay, so like for instance, in this example here, there is a main alignment from where you'd lay out a turnout. Okay, so all you need to do is just set some parameters if it's trailing or leading. Okay, and then the placement point, where is it along the main alignment. Okay, and then we have to impose a local standard or a rail specific type of standard. All you need to do is just go through some feature definition types so that it follows the right standard of your project, okay, or country standards. Okay, now, I'm not going to go through really a very detailed demonstration as to how you do alignment inside OpenRail Designer, right? Because the main purpose is for you to really see how OpenRail Designer is the best tool in the market right now to address the challenges that you have actually mentioned to us earlier on. Okay, which are hardware, processing, hardware, and as well as collaboration, and then handling or managing large files. Okay, there. So the tools are there, pretty much straightforward and purpose built for rail. Okay, so let me just push this straight, and then show you the output basically of how it or the software, okay, creates a yard, okay, which basically combines different techniques, geometry techniques of horizontal as well as vertical, turnouts, crossings, and so on. Okay. Then, since this is very specific to rail design standards, if you need to, or you have to, okay, assign probably different types of speed schemes in order for you to do more or less like how do you say it? Different, okay, to different scenarios, or apply different type of scenarios in order for you to make sure that you will apply or your design standards are met, okay, especially when there are curves in your alignment. So in this case, it's now showing you how you add cant or super elevation along the rail depending on the speed, okay, that you apply in the alignment. Okay, and then from it, you can output that into a report format so that you can basically share the information that is embedded in the civil or the intelligent civil information that are in the uh, software. Okay, so moving on, you have terrain, you have alignment. Okay, so we now go to templates or your cross sections. As I mentioned earlier, the terminology of templates in any Bentley softwares, basically, specifically civil softwares, refers to the cross section. Okay, so this template basically represents the transverse or cross-section geometry or typical section of your roadway or even, of course, your railway. So this template composed of points, which later on becomes 3D linear features along your corridor. And the points are connected to form components, okay, that represents materials, meshes, or pavements, such as, in this case, since it's rail, ballast, ballast, can be sleepers, can be side slopes as well. Okay, and this is stored in an ITL file or .itl file so that you can reuse that template library regardless uh, of the project, okay, that you are working on. So templates are or can be set to become parametric. They are basically intelligent or can be given an intelligent behavior, especially the points. You can have what we call constraint, okay, that allows you to make sure that when you reference this template here and you will be assigning or adapting or applying a super elevation or a cant, the rail, okay, alignment, okay, and also the points and the components would adapt to the standards that you will be applying. Okay, and the GUI, okay, the user interface itself is pretty much straightforward because you can test out, okay, the template points, components to show if it really adapts or applies the behavior that you would like it to have when you apply it in the corridor model. Okay, now this example I'm showing you is a tunnel, but basically you can also use it, okay, in an upgrade type of corridor, be it single or double track. You can test how it can cut or fill your existing ground, okay, by using different priorities in how it would cut or fill your ground, okay, and so on. Okay, so once you have already established the good or the right template in the project, you can now move on to your corridor design and modeling. Okay, now with the corridor modeling tool, it's dynamic and intelligent and very powerful in the sense that it has different um, tools that will allow you to make your alignment or your template adjust to existing or maybe propose design scenarios that you would like to impose. So basically, when you're using the corridor modeling in OpenRail, we have available um, creation as well as editing tools. for you to achieve the right modeling scenario or design scenario that you would like to achieve. Okay. Now, before I move on, I would just like to show some samples that we have actually created. Okay, so like for instance, I'm in OpenRail now. So this is a sample model of a rail project, which is actually, if you would look here, wait, let me just, I'm actually doing this real time. Okay, wait, let me just rotate it properly so that you can. So basically, this project is a two board tunnel, okay, connected to a station somewhere here, okay, which actually most of our projects nowadays, especially here in Singapore, are all almost all are underground. Okay, so what you see here on the view number 2 is basically the corridor model itself. Then I have the cross section here on the lower left view, okay, which basically shows us the portion where there is a cross passage, and then this above is the plan view of the entire project, okay, showing us the main alignment as well as the two tunnel corridors that we have on the left and on the right and on the left. Okay, now let me just go back to that view. Okay, wait. Okay, so this portion here, the cross passage. Okay, so in OpenRail Designer, there are tools that would allow you to model such kind of scenario. So we have the rail here in here, as you can see it. Oops, sorry, too much dragging. Wait. Let me go back. Okay, so we have the walkway and then the cross passage, and then if you would look here, it's going towards the other side of the tunnel. Okay, let me just do a walk. Okay, so here, so basically going through the next tunnel. Okay, so I do hope you can see how or this portion of the tunnel here. Okay, and as I mentioned, you can impose design standards. So as you can see here in the cross section, and a super elevation or a cant is applied. Okay, you would know that basically because of these points here that you see, and if you actually scroll through every chainage, okay, station, okay, you would also see that the outline here, which represents the vehicle or the train coach, actually would tilt a bit because of the um, cant rules that was applied. Okay, so another example I would like to show is this one. So as I said, the template, okay, is very powerful. If you use them and utilize them properly, you can create different types of scenarios, be it a single board tunnel or a double type of tunnel like this that you're seeing now. On the left is actually this, on the right is this one, and on the left is this one. So, and the template, as I mentioned, okay, can be constrained, or all the points here can be constrained so that you're really following different design scenarios. So let me just position this into this side of the tunnel. So you're seeing right now the right side of the dual tunnel or double tunnel that you are seeing. Okay, and then station, which we already applied as well. This is it. Okay, so as you can see, I'm doing this real time. So as I pan, as I zoom, as I walk, as I fly through. Okay, you see how smooth the transition is in terms of the navigation of the model. Okay, which is kind of optimized in all and or in many of the open applications of Bentley systems. Okay, and of course one of those is OpenRail Designer. Okay, now another scenario. Okay, going back to the slide I have prepared is if, let's say, for instance, you have to integrate an upgrade or even a tunnel type of corridor, and then you have to diverge, okay, it into a two tunnel type like this. Okay, you can use different corridor modeling tools in order for you to apply such kind of scenario. So in this case, the alignment, okay, or the corridor would uh, uh, diverge at some point, so that there would be two board tunnel coming from this main alignment here. So let me just push this a little bit, okay, so that you can see uh, the result. Okay, so there. Okay, now what if you have to make an exemption in terms of how it cut or fill your ground? Again, we have some tools that will allow you to maybe apply a retaining wall instead of having a large cut in your existing ground, because of course too much cut or too much fill entails cost. Okay, and if you want to maximize, or probably it's optimized or more optimized to show or apply a retaining wall instead of having a very large cut in your proposed model. Okay, there. And then of course, output that into a nice visualization by a single click of a button, by clicking the Lumen RT button in the software, so that uh, you can create a nice animation such as this sample I'm showing you. Okay. Now another technique, okay, and technology that is inside OpenRail Designer is the ability to use the computational design methodology using generative components. So this technology basically allows you to adapt to different alignment changes that is happening in your corridor using uh, visual scripting. Okay, we call that generative components. So all open roads, open rail, and even open buildings designer, for those who know some Bentley solution, will allow you to easily, okay, update your model if there are changes in your main alignment. So once your corridor is finished and there are need, or there's a need for you to update, okay, the original corridor, and if you're using, okay, or leveraging on the power of the generative components which is inside OpenRail Designer, then you'd be able to quickly adapt to these kinds of different design scenarios. Okay, there. Now this is just a repeat of what I've shown you. So basically, again, uh, it's a good tool that allows you to address those different design changes that would normally happen in any projects or rail projects such as this one. Okay, so there. Now, apart from those, okay, those rail specific and user friendly tools available in OpenRail Designer, there are these underlying technologies that makes the solution unmatched by any other rail or even other road design softwares in the market right now. Okay, so I'll go through that very quick in this presentation, just to give you maybe a teaser. Okay, but basically this is a point wherein we really stress on what makes OpenRail Designer the best rail, okay, design and modeling software in the market right now. Okay, because probably you'll say, oh, we can do alignment. Oh, this software can also do corridor modeling. This software can also do regression, can also create turnouts. So what makes OpenRail Designer different? Okay, so we'll go through this items here as I showcase you those underlying technology and that makes OpenRail Designer more powerful than any other solutions in the market now. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the core engine and CAD platform is MicroStation. So having that makes, I mean, the computational ability that is already inside MicroStation is leveraged in OpenRail Designer. Okay, the format is also DGN or .dgn, which is standard in all design and modeling softwares of Bentley systems. That makes every collaboration between different disciplines very efficient. Okay, and OpenRail Designer is just one of the many open applications of Bentley that leverages on the MicroStation as the platform and DGN as the format. Okay, and with this, users have a connected user experience as well in terms of how they leverage on different resources available from Bentley systems, as well as the technology that are embedded inside all of the softwares. Now, having DGN as the file format, everything are in the DGN, so you don't deal with external files anymore. Although, of course, if you're starting, maybe your terrain is from another software or created from another software, or your alignment is created from another software, you'd be able to get them inside OpenRail Designer and convert them into DGN. So it could be survey, DTM, geometry, even your templates or other formats of terrain models. So all in a DGN so that you can create an information model that has a common data and then output them into different formats. So all using OpenRail Designer. Okay, so that's number one. So number two, okay, since we're using or utilizing the MicroStation engine, okay, we also leverage on its workspace and workset handling of any country, organization, or even project standards. You have the ability to utilize maybe a predefined country or regional data set that comes out of the box when you install the software, or use some of those country-specific workspaces that we have actually created. Let's say, for instance, in Singapore, we have created one Singapore dataset. There's also some available ANZ dataset and European, depending on the country. Okay, so that everything, okay, I mean, these workspaces becomes the repository of all the standards that you may have in your project. So all your default CAD or even BIM and even your other civil design libraries, okay, including your annotations, civil objects, styles, probably how you show your alignments, you display your terrains, and how you come up with your sheets, plan, profile, or cross-section. You store that in what we call a workspace. Okay? So ORD does not just store one standard, as I've mentioned, or everything in a template file, or I think the other software is doing it in that way, wherein they store everything in a template file. But in OpenRoads, okay, and especially in all MicroStation-based solutions of Bentley, we are actually leveraging on this kind of methodology so that we can maximize okay, the power or the engine of MicroStation in order for us to deliver civil projects. Okay, so that's number 2. Okay, so number 3 is that the data that you or that OpenRail Designer can be scalable. Okay, it can be small survey data. It can be from different data formats. I'm talking about terrains. Okay, even actually in the first part, I've shown you the reality model, right? So those reality models are really, really large data files that you can get inside Open Rail Designer. It supports different big data such as aerial imagery, raster, or satellite images, even GIS, standard GIS formats, point clouds, and of course, as I mentioned, reality meshes. So scalable because it can take in small sizes of data up to probably a city-wide, or depending on how large your country is, could be a countrywide size of data, all inside OpenRail Designer, which basically allows you to make sure that your project is geo-coordinated and in the right position or location on Earth. Of course, number 4. Are we number 4? Yeah. Okay. So flexible project deliverables, reports, sheets, those that are embedded, probably that can be embedded in your what you call this construction stakeout softwares. And there's also a way for you to leverage on the cloud-based type of technology, like for instance, the Bentley Cloud platform is called the iTwin hub, that allows you to do, collaboration, leveraging on the cloud-based technology. So meaning to say, no need for you to install any software, but you can just use your browser in order for you to do some design reviews. Okay, so there. Although I will not go through this because I think we are running out of time. But basically, creating sheet model is very much straightforward in the software. Okay. Then the 5th point I would like to reiterate is that in OpenRail, okay, you don't just deal with a 3D data. Okay, you, or from the very start, okay, of the project, you can have BIM level 1 to 2 and beyond type of deliverables. Okay, so not just three-dimensional, not just visualization, not just animation. Okay, you can put in, like for instance, in this example, an asset attribution in order for you to make sure that your project or your model, okay, can be taken not only during design phase or construction phase, but also in the operations and maintenance phase. Okay, allowing you to add different types of properties, okay, by using what we call the asset management tool of the software. And of course, visualization is or creating what do you call this, generating earthworks is straightforward as well. It's one of the byproduct of the softwares. Okay, there. And of course, oops, sorry, visualization. Okay, I've shown you a sample already a while ago. Okay, using Luminarty. Okay. Then second to the last point, I would like to reiterate that makes OpenRail Designer cut above the rest of other solutions is that any rail projects could entail many files. Okay, so with ORD, the simple approach of file federation can address the challenges of collaboration. And it would be great, although it would be great if everything are all DGN, okay? But then, of course, the reality, we don't have such, okay? So you also integrate with other file formats. So with Bentley systems, we actually have some technologies or tools that allow you to address collaboration with different files, okay? But the the illustration here that I'm showing is just showing you that uh, even though you are dealing with, probably your team is only involved with survey data and generating terrain, okay, any highway or alignment engineer would be able to reference that file and then probably attach or add in standards and move on to the modeling, corridor, site, or even drainage modeling, all by just referencing. Okay, so the boxes that you see actually represent different files or math models. Okay, and you don't put them in a single file only. Okay, so the best practice that we always, or we tell our users is, do not put all your civil data in one file. Use or leverage on the federated way of managing your projects. Since everything are in DGN, survey, terrains, geometry, can, corridors, etc., okay, can be federated in different files and then manage them um, properly. Okay, you can use simple referencing, and you can even use our connected data environment tool, which is ProjectWise. Okay, and of course, leveraging on this kind of approach is very much the key for you to have an effective collaboration. Okay, then one last item here, I would like to showcase to everyone is that regardless of what discipline that has to integrate with your rail project, okay, OpenRail Designer gives you different workflows, okay, or functions in order for you to effectively deliver your rail infrastructure project. So we have GIN civil tools. Then, of course, don't forget the one I showcased earlier on, reality modeling, drainage and utilities, doing or adding in hydraulic calculations, and integrating with other Bentley solutions, Open Buildings Designers, Open Bridge, Open Plant, and so on. Okay, but of course, do not fret, do not frown if you are using the other software. We also have some third-party civil design or CAD, okay, support workflow that allows you to integrate and probably collaborate with the other solutions or other softwares. So, and then if you would be leveraging on the cloud technology that we offer in Bentley system, you can do a digital type of design review, okay, by just publishing or synchronizing your model to the web, to the iTwin hub, okay, and allows you to do uh, digital type of design review. So it, you do away with manual with manual printing into PDF and then sending it through email, and then they would redline using the PDF tools and then send you back the revision or the comments through email again, okay, and so on. Okay, now to cap off my presentation or the presentation, I would just like to show few examples of how some of our users actually leverage on the OpenRail Designer, as well as the other Bentley solutions that we have. Okay, the users that that I'm showing is basically those that actually joined our annual Year in Infrastructure Awards. Uh, this ones came from the 2019 set of finalists. Okay, so this project here is one of the finalists from where they were chosen because they were able to use Bentley technology to create single repository for the free flow of accurate information and a collaborative way of working that basically allowed them to save on hours, okay, hours and hours of project delivery, and they've utilized from context capture, Lumen-RT, MicroStation, even at that time still have the navigator in order for you to do the digital collaboration. Then of course other tools like Open Buildings Designer, and then the civil tools OpenRail Designer and OpenRoads Designer. Okay, so another user that actually made it to the finals is this project in Netherlands. It's a rail project that basically it's a 9 kilometer route of 8 stops through the mountainous city in Netherlands, and it actually has an underground depot. Okay, this one, an underground depot integrated, or they utilize the integrated design softwares of Bentley system so that they can create 3D as well as 4D construction simulation. But basically the rail model here that you're seeing are done using OpenRail Designer. Okay, and what's good about this project here, that's why it was chosen as one of the finalists, is because it utilizes the computational design in order for them to lay out the rails or the sleepers along the rail alignment. So this quick one I would like to show you. Okay, so at that time when they submitted this, computational design, which is generative component, is only available at that time in Open Buildings Designer. But this technology is now available in OpenRail. So you are now able to utilize on scripting, okay, visual scripting, in order for you to add more details to your rail model. Okay, so all you need to do is just focus on your design, and then if there are updates, which is similar to the example I've shown you earlier on, if there would be updates in the alignment, okay, all you need to do is just update the script, and then the model would update as well. Okay, adapting. Now, if you notice, it actually leverage on the federated approach. That's why it's easy for you to really update your model. Okay, so a simple type of referencing was done. Okay, now in terms of leveraging the cloud-based technology of Bentley system, so I mentioned about the digital design review in iTwin. Okay, so regardless of your project being large, being small, okay, you are able to do digital collaboration within your team or within the project stakeholders by leveraging on the iTwin technology of Bentley systems. And in this example here I'm showing is that the Sweco team is trying to see, okay, how or to view objects that have been removed, had been edited, okay, by putting in different color codes in the model so that it's easy for them to do design review. Okay, and so on. Okay, Then one last project. I hope you're still in the session, guys. Okay, one last project that I, we are compelled to show this because it really gives us the real, examples that makes OpenRail Designer the best tool in order for you to deliver large rail projects. Okay, so this one is from Italy. Okay, they created it's a project that is actually part of the Trans-European Network, which integrates rail infrastructure in Italy that aims to shorten travel time by several hours. It actually covers 60-kilometer. Imagine that 60-kilometer stretch from it's a Piche to Bovino. Okay, I'm not sure if I don't know the place as well, but it's basically in Italy and uses uh, different kinds of rail uh, alignment type. At grade, there are tunnels, there are also uh, viaducts. Okay, so basically leveraging most of the Bentley solutions. Although I'm just gonna focus on OpenRail here. So this is one example that or one example of the visualization that they come up with when they presented this entry to the Year in Infrastructure Awards. Okay, so they've able to model a cross passage connecting the two uh, tunnel corridor, then moving on to the a cross passage or the main tunnel corridor, and if you look closely below, probably an exit cross passage that is needed in order to properly maintain and operate the rail corridor. Okay, and as I have been mentioning, okay, they also leverage on the federated model approach, but in this case, they used ProjectWise in order to manage all the hundreds of files in their project. Okay, integrating all aspects of design, tunnels, buildings, station, bridges, and even the at-grade rail track. Okay, just as a short visualization before I cap the presentation here. So this is the final output that they had when they uh, showed or presented this project here for the Year in Infrastructure, or I think they also presented it to their relevant stakeholders in Italy. Okay, so visualization was done in Lumen RT, but basically all the models are integrated from different Bentley softwares, and using ProjectWise as the main platform in order for them to effectively federate all the project models of this example. Okay, so with that, I'm finishing my presentation here, but I would like to take this opportunity as well to invite everyone to our upcoming Year in Infrastructure event. Okay, it used to be always conducted or always done in October, but this year it's in December, and this is the second year that we're doing it virtually because of the pandemic. So please join us by registering for free. You just go to yii.bentley.com. You can register for free so that you can see how our others users are leveraging on not only OpenRail solution but also other Bentley solutions. Okay, so I think that's all for my presentation. Casey. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you for the wonderful presentation and as well as some great demo there, Megan. I
Thank
think you
you.
yeah, you guys can type in any question you have in the chat and we'll try and answer it as the best we can. So while they are typing the question, Melan, maybe we can
Mm-hmm.
address some of the popular questions we get when engaging the people in the industry. So
Yeah,
I
sure, sure.
so I think the first one would be if they have alignment or any other data from say Civil 3D and rail track,
Mm-hmm.
how do they bring it into OpenRail Designer?
Okay, great question. We support different alignment formats. You were referring to the alignment, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Or even yeah. Okay, so we support different formats. So if you can still see my screen, so we have some import geometry tools that supports different formats such as this. Okay, so if you're using the other software, you have the XML format there. Then we also can use 12D formats. And if you still have MX, we still support the MX format and inroads and geopack and other formats. Okay,
Okay,
did
thanks for
I
that.
address the question?
Yep, very well. Okay. Then another question I can think of and I recall I get a lot is if they are doing a point cloud on the brownfield project. So
Mm-hmm.
is there like a specific tool that we have that can generate the center line of the existing tracks on the point cloud data?
Point cloud data, of course, there we have some what do you call this? We support that kind of format by utilizing the reality modeling workflow. Okay, and then we support this point cloud referencing. So if I may just show different kinds of formats of point cloud, okay, these are it. Then if you need to extract, okay, probably geometries from it, we have some tools that will allow you to, some tools that will allow you to extract the alignment, okay, information from existing point cloud data. Mhm. So it's in the it's in the
Hmm,
reality modeling point cloud workflow,
I
basically.
see. I think you're
Okay.
referring to the regression tool, right?
Yeah, and we also have that. Okay, once you have referenced the sorry, I forgot that. Once you have referenced the point cloud data, then you move on to the regression tools, which I actually mentioned earlier on. Okay, so that you can uh, convert, okay, that probably top of rail, right, or inner portion of the rail. So then use the regression tool in order for you to generate those alignment. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks for sharing that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Ken, I think we have some question coming in. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a question asking if the data set for rail is available for Singapore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it is. If you have the if your IT, especially for those who are in big organization, usually their IT is the one managing the downloads, right? So all you need to do is go to the software downloads because we have already released the Singapore OpenRail, okay, data set. Let me just open, if I may just show it to you of OpenRail. Wait, OpenRail Designer. Let me just, sorry, data set. Then, wait, I think it's for update 9. let me change this. Sorry. Yeah, here. Singapore dataset is available. So just go to our connect.bentley.com, go to the software downloads, and then you'll be able to download it was released around, only this year, first quarter, or second quarter, first month of the second quarter.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all for the question. Yeah. So yeah, is there anything more you want to add before we end the session? Or yeah, good.
Nothing. I think that's all I have to share. And my email is in the screen. So if anything, any technical questions or clarifications on the presentation, please feel free to get in touch.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Milan. And if you guys have any question on the licensing or commercial program we have to use OpenRail, please reach out to me. My email address, as you can see, is in the webinar invite. And just drop me an email and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. So yeah, we come to the end of our webinar, and I hope that you can fill in the survey question after you close the session. And we hope to see you again in our next event. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Bye.
Bye-bye.